Welcome to the Listening Well, the space where every story matters. I'm Shania, your host and therapist, here to share real conversations and anonymous letters from listeners who are ready to speak their truth or just share something that they want to tell. Some stories are spoken, some are written, all are worth hearing. Let's listen in. Hi, everyone. Sorry to hop in here before our episode gets started. If you are tuning in on YouTube or Spotify, we're able to watch the audio and video for this recording. On my side, I had some issues, so you might see where the recording audio was not quite matched up to the picture. I tried my hardest to get things lined up, but where I would shift in one place, it would unshift in another. So I hope that you're able to bear with me. Maybe I encourage you to give it a listen to our audio platforms like Spotify for just audio, Apple Podcasts, like just those audio spaces to make sure that you can enjoy receiving this story. So enough about my chitter chatty. I hope that you enjoy. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in today and for listening to another story. We are here today with Daniel. And Daniel, can you share a bit about yourself and what drew you to reach out to join the pod? I know you are like an avid podcaster on shows, but if you can share a little bit of why you like to get out there and share what you got going on.
I like to get out there and share what I have going on because I have a certain message that I try to bring to people, a certain understanding of why we are here and what is our purpose, as well as learning to listen, trust, and follow through with what your spiritual guides and what your soul is trying to tell you to do throughout this world. But to introduce myself, my name is Daniel Jackson, also known as Spirit Medium Daniel. I see dead people, but no one's really dead; they're just relocated. And I try to help people to get an understanding of what that truly means.
Okay. I really loved how you said that. I don't think I've ever heard anyone use that kind of term. So I'm sure being a medium is a different kind of experience. And from what you submitted, this is something that you experienced since you were a child. So can you share a little bit of like background of what it's like to kind of be able to tap into I don't want to say another world, but another side of our world that many of us can't, like throughout your life.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I've seen spirits since the age of 3 years old. But I don't now it's to the point I don't ever not see spirits. So I see, hear, feel, smell, sometimes taste. You don't want that part, and communicate with spirit every day for my entire life. It never turns off. It never goes away. I did find out recently I can turn it off if I want to when I go to sleep at night. But everything that I see and hear and experience, everything that I feel, everything I communicate with is something everyone would wish they could have. So why would I turn it off?
Right.
But I go through everything and experience everything that I do so I can better explain it to everyone else so they can realize what's actually important within that
Mhm.
spiritual realm, but what's actually important to themselves as well, being here as human beings.
Yeah, yeah. And when you were a child, like what was that like? Because I'm not sure if this is like a hereditary thing. Maybe you could give like a educational
No.
background of what it means to be a medium. Okay.
Yeah, no, this is not hereditary. Being a medium is you either have this or you don't. And the reason you
Mm,
have it is because it's part of your it's put into your soul during the creation of your soul. So you had from a very, very, very long time ago. And I'm not just talking about human years. I'm talking about the creation of your soul, which happened a long time before you ever became a human. You just don't understand that, or are you going to know it? Because if you did, it would make it very difficult for you to comprehend being human and to live your human life, knowing that you are a lot more than you believe you are. And we're here to we're sent here to learn lessons and fulfill a purpose. And that
yeah.
other stuff would get in the way of you being able to accomplish that.
Okay.
But yeah, I've seen them ever since I was 3 years old. My parents and my two brothers and sister also saw them at that time, but that's because we lived in a town in New Jersey. It was right on the Delaware River, right? And there was a little battlefield there, and this is where the Hessians fought. So yeah, there was a battle. There was a little hospital there. So a lot of people in the area were seeing a lot of spirit around that area. But it was
Mhm.
just after we moved away from there, my mom and dad and I and my one brother eventually came back to New Jersey, but, I was the only one who was continuing to have these types of experiences and not just, every once in a while, it was going on daily.
Okay. And would you say, like, being at the point where you can, like, turn it on, turn it off, whether you want it off or not, like, is there a skill building part of this
Absolutely.
experience?
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm the skill that I'm building is to be able to communicate with all those that I do communicate with because I don't just see people. I see dogs, cats, horses, cows, fish, other beings from other worlds. I see into other realms. I see into other dimensions. I remote view. I have a lot of stuff going on. I have a lot of stuff going on that I don't even talk about with people because it really doesn't pertain to them. And besides them, I just don't want to scare them. I want them to understand what it truly means to be not just living this human experience, but why we are really truly here, and why we're here together at the same time. But yeah, it's all the experience that I gained from this again is helping me to help others to understand what they need to know as a part of it. So it will get them to learn their lessons, fulfill their purpose, and go home. And what I mean by home is I call it that's heaven, but it's home because that's where you come from. Because you don't come from this place, you come from that place. You come here to learn. There's that term that says, "God bless you." Well, He did. He put you here. He wants us to figure out the rest. But it's my job to get you to go home, to be able to go home, because not everything walks into the light. Not everything goes home to heaven. There is no such thing as a rainbow bridge. There is just isn't. I mean, I see dogs and cats and horses and cows and other things in this low energy realm all the time. But if I could get everybody educated, we would have less going there and more going home. So that's what I'm here to do.
I feel like that's a really beautiful mission in a way that other people can definitely understand, even if they maybe can't grasp like the how complex the universe or the world that we live in, right?
It's more complex than they know. It's funny to listen. I just have to sit back and watch them go, well, I'm trying to get to the fifth dimension. You have no frickin' clue what that actually means. You just don't. But unfortunately, like with anything else in this world, like when people were being brainwashed by religion, people are now being brainwashed by some of these fake practitioners out there thinking that,
Mm,
they're giving you these things and these ideas that they want you to work towards. It's just a bunch of bull crap. Your body could not actually go into a fifth or sixth dimension because your body would not be able to take it. It would break apart. So no, it's not going to happen. And your soul's not meant to be there. It's meant to be here.
mm-hmm.
If it was
Well
meant to be,
said.
if it was meant to be there, it would be there.
True, true. And how is that for you trying to, like, as you shared, your mission is to be able to help people like learn what they need to learn so that they can fulfill the missions that they were here for. Like, how is that for you?
It's not easy.
Mhm.
Because I have to give it to them in steps. I can't give it to them all at once. Everybody wants to know, the how the magician does it without learning the process of it or the steps of it. But if I were to do that, it would be like me being an airplane pilot and me giving you the keys to an airplane when you're 5 years old and just telling you, okay, go ahead and fly it. You just wouldn't be able to figure it out because it is too much. You have to take time. You have to make the effort and have to know there's a lot to it. It's not you just can't be given to you all at once. So I give it to people in steps for them to understand, and then once they get one part of it done, then they move on to the next one, and then finally after a while they'll say, "Oh, you were right. I needed it in little pieces, bits and pieces, because if I took it all on, even when I do readings for people and I tell them what's going on, at the end of it, usually at the end of every one of my readings, they go, "That's a lot," and I go, "Right. How do you think it is for me?" And I'm just giving
Mm,
you what you need for you. So I got all this other stuff going, and they go, I wouldn't want to be you. And I go, right, you don't. Because being a medium is not just being a medium to get answers, it's the responsibility of being able to give the answers that you're meant to give. And some of the answers I give, I'm a very black and white person. I'm very cut and dry. I have a no bullshit delivery. I give it as it is. And not everybody likes that because not everybody likes the truth. Well, that's too bad. It's still the truth. But I give it to them in a way that it makes it easier for them to understand. But yeah, being a medium isn't just getting answers because people think they want to become me. Well, they only want the cool part. They don't want everything else that it takes in order to get to the cool part. and they don't understand it. It's when I explain some of the stuff that I had to go through in order to get what I get now. That's when they go, yeah, no, no thanks. I go, you're right, because I couldn't handle it.
Can you share a little bit about what that looks like? Like, if comfortable, what is it that you had to go through to be able to get to this? I want to say like skill set mastery, it looks and sounds like, to be able to help people in
Sure.
this way, in a way that's helpful for them, maybe not what they want, but what they need.
Sure. Well, in order to be where I am at, I was working with a group of mediums in the very beginning who were helping me to develop this. So I would get a message from my spiritual guides that would tell me to go and sit with each one of these different women at different times and said, sit across, ask permission if it's okay to do this, because I didn't even know what I was doing at that point. And so I said, okay. And they said, sit across, ask us permission. It's okay to do this. Sit across with them, hold out your hands, clear your minds, then let them touch your hands. And then they would say, and just watch. And I'm like, just watch? What's that supposed to mean? And they said, just watch. I said, okay. So every time I did this with each one of them, and when they grabbed my hands, they did this. And I was like, what's going on here? And every one of them was like, oh my God, the energy is so strong. Because every time that I would channel with somebody, that's what I found that I was doing from doing it with
Mm,
them. When I was doing it, I asked one of the girls the very first time about it, and one of the other women said, "Are you getting rid of the channel?" I'm like, "I don't know what you're doing talking about. I'm just doing whatever they're telling me to do, because I was so green. I was greener than any grass I've ever seen in my life, and so I just did this, and every time I did, an archangel came through.
wow.
And then most of the time it's archangels, and then a couple times Jesus came through, and then this one time, God came through. He's been through twice, but I've seen him a bunch more times ever since that. But so when he came through in this one particular moment, the voice that just came through, and the voice came through and said, "Hello, my son." And I just said, after all these experiences, I said, "Who is it I'm speaking with?" He said, "It is I, your father. But you call me God. But I don't like that word because you use that word too many times that have nothing to do with me." When he said that, I was like, yeah, no kidding. Because I mean, when I was a kid, back in the 70s, because I'm old, back in the 70s, we had that band Led Zeppelin. Everyone called them the gods of rock and roll. Are they really gods? No. But we use that word too many times that have nothing to do with him. So he doesn't like that word. He prefers to be called father. But when he did come through, my skin felt like it was on fire. And I was like, And and I was looking around the room, and everybody's hair was sticking straight out, and everyone's getting goosebumps in their skin. They're going, "Oh my god." And then he said, "Don't worry, that'll go away soon." So he knew exactly what was taking place. His energy is that kind of strong. People don't understand that. They think God's just gonna come through and talk to them. No, your body has to be worked on, purged. Your soul has to be worked on to be able to receive this energy. So it's not just he's just going to come. The same thing with working with archangels. So, and he said, "You'll be working with my children." You referred to them as archangels. So when people ask me that question, I always say, "Oh, I work with who we refer to as archangels because they're not what we think. They're not men with wings and shields and swords. They're not magical beings that are going to fix your life." I mean, why would a guardian angel keep you from getting cancer but not keep your dog from getting hit by a car? Because they don't
Mm,
do either. There's no such thing as a guardian angel. I mean, if you had a guardian angel following you around, guarding you from everything in your life, what would you learn? Nothing.
right.
But people don't seem to get that because they always want to know, what's my guardian angel have for me? Well, if you had a guardian angel, don't you think it'd be talking to you already? I mean, come on,
Right.
wake up. So, uh, so he said, "You'll be working with my children, or what you refer to as archangels." And he said, "It's a process, Daniel. You have to agree to the process." I said, "Well, you already know I'm going to do this." He goes, "Yeah, I know. But I have to say yes to it, but he already knows I'm gonna say yes to it." So after that, then that night, I went home, I went to bed, and when I went to bed, I saw them around me because I was seeing them around me prior to that, but now I'm seeing more of them, and then what I was seeing at that point was I was laying in bed, I see these little arms coming down out of there and little tentacles and come around touching my body, and I feel these little cold touches all over my body. I figured, okay, this is all right. And then I went to sleep. And then I wake up 3 or 4 hours later, throwing up and crapping everywhere because their energy, again, is so strong. This is what it does to you. So that had to happen, and that happened twice a month, like getting the flu twice a month for 3 years.
Okay.
That went
That
on
is
for
a
3
long
years.
time. That
Right.
sounds a bit
So,
grueling.
yes, it's a bit grueling, so you have to be willing to go through that. Now, I didn't know that that's what was going to take place, but like you said, it's a process, and you had to be willing to do this process. I mean, through up until that time, at that point, when archangels would come through, they would always say, "You have a choice, Daniel. You don't have to do this." And I'd say, "Yes, I do. You already know I do." And they say, "We know, but can everybody do that? Would you want to
I
accept
don't
that?"
know if I would have the the capacity. I think that's
Right.
something that I want to ask about. Like, how do you, like, when it comes to those experiences? And then you also mentioned, like, the pressure of the responsibility of, like, giving people what that they need. Like, what do you do to manage to be able to deal with that? Because it sounds like a lot of, I'm sure, like, purposeful weight to carry, but a lot of weight to carry.
Sure, sure, it is a lot of weight, and you have to have the responsibility in order to take that weight, but also deliver that weight of what you're trying to come across to people as well. I mean, that sounds like it was very horrific, and it was, but that isn't even close to what I experience now is when I see because I've seen spirit my entire life, but not in the way that I see them now. Not the things that I see. Sometimes what I see, because I don't always just see into what we call heaven or home. I see into the low energy realm most of the time, and some of the things I see there are what looks like the worst horror movie you've ever seen in your life, except you wouldn't be able to see this movie because they wouldn't show it on TV movies. It's that kind of bad. You don't want to see it, but it never turns off for me because I have to witness it. And not only am I witnessing it, but they talk to me, and the
Mm-hmm.
bad ones talk to me. So you have to be able to handle that. You can't run and hide from them. I mean, as
Mm-hmm.
I explain it to everyone, I'll tell you, I mean, if you actually knew what was taking place on around you every single moment of the day, even right now, as you're looking at me, what's going on around you spiritually, you would hide in a closet if you
Probably.
knew, but it
Yeah.
wouldn't do you any good because they're in the closet too.
Right.
So
Right.
be lucky that you're not seeing that. Be lucky that you're not feeling or experiencing that. Now, I know a lot of mediums who don't experience any of it either. But
Okay.
this, what I have, is just not meant for them. That's all. They're just meant to do what they're meant to do, which is fine and dandy. I'm just meant to do this, chosen for it.
Right. Is there anything that you do, whether like practice wise, ritual wise, to like keep your energy? Because it sounds like there's a lot of like passing of energy. Is there anything that you do to keep your energy full to be able to give to others in this kind of?
No, I don't have to. My energy is different than other spirits. I get all my energy from my family, of which I call archangels as well as God. So I have energy from them all the time because my soul is different than all other souls in this world. You've been here, let me ask, real quick. So you're on life number 28. So this is your 28th lifetime. So you've had 27 other sets of moms and dads, brothers and sisters, dogs and cats, and 27 other astrological signs. I mean, absolutely horse crap because your body's born, your soul's created, has nothing to do with stars and moons and all that stuff. I mean, Mercury rising. You've never been to Mercury, so why do you think it has something to do with you? It doesn't. Neither does your sign. I mean, come on, you've had 20. You're on your 28th lifetime. That means 28 signs. So which one are you? None of them. Okay, so don't let that little newspaper article that your horoscope define what your day is going to be like. It's going to be defined by your choices. So, but yeah,
Mhm.
my my soul's been here the longest. So, and even now, when someone says to you, I'm an old soul. Well, you're going to tell them, well, I've been here 28 times. I'm pretty old too. So everyone's an old soul, but my soul's been here the longest because my soul is the actual light that shines. So it's spirit to cross over into heaven as well as for all souls to come into this world to be born and all souls who leave and then all souls who come through and to visit as well. So my soul's been here the longest. That's all. And that's why I have so much energy from them because my soul was the light into heaven. That's all. There just is no one else. It's just me. I'm okay with it.
And that's great. And I feel like that's part of that acceptance that you shared, like having
Yeah,
to
well,
be
you're either
open.
going to accept it or you're not. You're either going to, like anything in your life, you're going to learn to accept your life or you're not, and you're going to let it drive you insane. Well, I choose not to let it drive me insane. I mean, I choose not to get angry over other people's anger. They can yell at me all they want. And I just go, Are you done? Yeah. You have anything to say? Well, yeah, have a great day. See you later. Whatever, I don't have to get angry at anyone else's anger. Why should I? I don't do that whole new word trigger, Yeah, I mean, whatever, I don't have to let it bother me, but people do. I just don't. But that's a choice I had to make for myself. Everyone else has to make that for themselves as well.
Right, absolutely. And what you're sharing are really big concepts that I'm sure just like the surface level pieces of that. And you share that usually when you're, giving someone like a message that they need,
Yes.
that you usually it in like steps of sort. Can you share a little bit about what that looks like? Or does that look different for every person?
It is different for every person. Like, I was just doing a show before I came on here. It was actually two people who I know from. I was on this one guy's show named Rick Yee. I was on his show twice. He calls me the most powerful medium he's ever met in his life. And he and his wife came on. So I thought I was going to just do a talk with them about some things that I had told them about 6 or 8 months ago that actually all came to fruition.
Wow.
And then he said, do you mind if we record this? I might want to put this out. I said, sure, no problem. So she was asking me a question. She said, look, I'm in the corporate world. I've been in it for 22 years. How much longer am I supposed to be in this for? And I said, oh, let
Mm,
me find out. I said, well, they're telling me a year and a half. And she said, oh, okay, all right. And so they were talking about something else. And then she said, I keep getting this date in my mind. This date in my mind, it keeps telling me May 11th. I said, okay. She said, is there some significance to that? I said, yeah, a year and a half now. Exactly. It'll be
mm,
May 11th. That's when you're leaving your job. And she was like, she just looked at her husband like, and she got goosebumps and cold chills. And he's like, and I said, that's exactly 1 year. If you go by today's date, that's basically 1.5 years away, will be May 11th. And she just looked at me and I said, I told you, I can't make this shit up. Now, I'm not gonna know that answer until we have that conversation, but I got it right then and there. I said, it may not make sense to you at that moment, but it absolutely made sense to you 10 minutes later when we were talking about something else that proceeded into that same conversation. Again, I'm not a mathematician. I couldn't just come up with May 11th like that. She came up with a date, but she asked me prior to that, when am I quitting my job? A year and a half. And then if you go a year and a half exactly from this date here away, that's May 11th. I mean, I can't make that up. So you get
yeah.
what you get, but everybody gets what they're supposed to get. But in order to do that, well, then you got to have a sit down talk with me because I'm the guy.
And
I'm
what
just
are
the
the
guy. That's it.
usual reactions to what you have to share? Are people like
They started
open?
crying. Those two people sat in front of me and started crying because there's no way I could have got that without being told.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I whenever I do readings for people, I do readings. I just did readings recently. I go up in Tucson, Arizona, because I live in Arizona, and I always bring a box of tissues with me because every time I do, people are just crying because I mean, I'm not here to pat myself on the back. I'm not, but
Hmm.
I get everything right. I just do. I just do. But I mean, I want to. But I'm the medium who brings you answers that you need. Okay, I'm not going to bring you answers that you want. I always tell people, you may not get the reading that you want, but you will get the reading that you need. I'm not here to blow smoke up your butt. I'm not here. I'm not going to tell you everything is love and light and rainbows and freaking unicorns. I'm not that person. If you want that person, you go get one of those fake mediums that's going to tell you that stuff because I'm not here to do that. I'm not here to tell you that you have a guardian angel and all that stuff and all the things that you want to hear. I'm going to tell you the things that you need to hear so you can learn the lessons, fulfill your purpose, and go home and stay home and not come back and do this all over again. Because people don't even know what their purpose is. Purpose is we're here to help each other just for the sake of helping, not because you
Hmm.
can, but because you should. In a way, where you're going to do something for someone they cannot physically possibly do for themselves, or you're helping them to figure it out. That's what your purpose is. It's doing an act of kindness, doing it for the reason of just because. It's not going to be an occupation. You can do it while being a doctor, but you're the person who's going the extra mile for that person. Why? Because
Right.
you can, because you have the ability to do it at that moment. I was at the mall last week and I was walking through. Now, before I went to the mall, I asked my guys, I said, "Do I need to go to the mall today?" And they touch me on my face. This is yes, and that's no. I feel like a tear running down my face, and when it's going across my face, it feels like blood dripping across my face. So I said, "Should I go to the mall today?" I got yes. I said, "What time should I go?" And I heard in my mind, 4 o'clock. I said, "Oh, 4 o'clock? Yes. Okay." I go to the mall at 4 o'clock. I'm walking around. There comes a little lady, old lady out of the store. She said, "Excuse me, sir. Could you tell me where T-Mobile is?" I was like, "Oh, sure. You go down here, you go down to the food court, you make a right-hand turn. It's about 2 doors down. You'll find it right there." She's like, "I'm going the wrong direction." I said, "Well, you just kept walking. You would made it there eventually, but, you know." But she goes around. I leave. I do my another lap around the mall. I come back, and she's not there yet. She's like, "I know you said it's around here." I said, "Let me show you exactly where it's at." I said, "'Cause I don't want
Mhm.
you to get lost." And I take her over there, and I said, "There you go." She's like, "Oh, thank you so much." That's fulfilling your purpose. Why?
Right.
Purpose is choice. That's why, and not
Mhm.
everybody chooses to do it. They get in that situation where they see a dog out in the middle of the street and they go, "Oh, I know. I see that dog in the middle of the street, but I'm late for work." Well, if you're late for work, get up earlier. It's pretty simple. Not everybody can figure that out. But if you can get that dog out of the road without hurting yourself or something like that, or maybe finding its owner or doing something for it that it cannot do for itself, that's fulfilling your
Mhm.
purpose. But not everybody has time for that. Well, you better make time because if you don't make time for it, you're going to come back and do this all over again. I don't make the rules. I just explain them.
I think
People
that's
just don't
so
get
well.
it.
Yeah, and I feel like if people took the time to really look for those opportunities to make the choice to help others, that they would probably feel a bit more fulfilled in life too. And I think
Yes.
the space that
But
we're in where there's
they have to learn to listen, trust, and follow through with what their spirit guides and what their soul are taking them to. You know, those gut feelings that you get that say, you know, how like you're about to walk into a building and you say this out loud because everybody does it. You say, "I don't feel right about this." That's your soul telling you not to walk in there. So don't walk in there. So every time it tells you, if you can take your hands and put it on your stomach and ask yourself, "Should I go to the mall today?" And if you feel good about it, then go. If you don't
Mhm.
feel good about it, then don't go. That's your soul telling you one way or the other what to do. But the more you learn to listen, trust, and follow through with what your spiritual guides are telling you, what your soul is telling you to do, you'll get to the places that you are meant to be, not just for you, but for you, for those moments to happen so you can fulfill your purpose. Pretty simple. But no one wants to do that. Because why? It takes time and too much effort. It doesn't fit into their lifestyle. Well, your lifestyle is why you're here, multiple times because you don't think you have time for it. You'll get it figured out eventually. But hey, I did a reading for a lady one time who'd been here 43 times. 28 ain't so bad, but 43, totally screwing it up. And at the end of it, she said to me, she said, "Daniel, do I have time to fulfill my purpose?" And I said, "No, you have run out of time." Now, if I told you that you ran out of time, what would that mean to you? What do you think?
I feel like I would be maybe disappointed because I feel like there are a lot of things that I do within my life to be able to try to help other people because I feel like that's my own personal mission, like as a therapist or as like just a person, as a
Sure.
human being to another human being. So I would feel sad in knowing that whatever type of like impact I have in my head, I don't think I can conceptualize and say like, okay, I've helped enough of people, like I'm good, I'm done. But I
Right.
would be disappointed that maybe whatever impact I think I could have, that I would not be able to do that.
Well, that was a good way of putting it, but you might want to think more about it because that was my nice way of telling her she was going to die soon, and she did 6 months later. So when I get an answer, I'm not kidding.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the actual seriousness of it.
Mm.
People don't get that, but when I give them an answer, they go, "Oh crap!" I go, "Yeah, oh crap! Look at all
And what
that
was that?
time you wasted doing nothing." You
Yeah. And what was that like for that person
know.
to know like you don't have time left, and to know that that means that like you quite literally don't have
I
time
already
left.
told her at that point she had to come back anyway and do this all over again, but she was all upset. She was upset anyway because she went to the same doctor I went to, and she said, "He makes me cry all the time." So I said, "Well, the reason he makes you cry is because you don't like the truth." She was one of
Mm.
those people who when she showed up to the reading, she showed up in a wheelchair. Her husband had to bring her in, and then she got on her walker and came into my house. and stuff like that because she didn't want to listen to us to follow through. She didn't want to listen to what the doctor was telling her or anything. She wanted to eat all the cookies and cake and ice cream and pie and do all of it, everything she wanted to do. She was diabetic.
Mm,
She was already legally blind. She couldn't drive. She could barely walk, but she did it to herself. We do these things to ourselves because we don't pay attention. We only do what we want to do when we want to do it. Well, that's not what
right.
your life is about. Your life isn't all about me, 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 me. It's about you being here and doing things that you want to do for yourself, but it's about you doing things for other people as well. And until you get that figured out, it's not about having 6 cars and 7 houses and 10 boats. It's not about that stuff. It's not about the me, 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 or let me take 1,000 selfies and post it on Facebook. It's not about that. If you think it
Mhm,
is, I mean, if you think you need an angel to do that, you don't need an angel to go get a cup of coffee, or you don't need an angel to take 1,000 selfies. So that's why you don't have an angel. That's why people don't have angels because they think that's what it's going to help them to do. No,
mhm.
it's not about patting yourself on the back or looking smiling into a camera all day long. That's not what it's about at all. If you had an angel with you, it's because you're here to change the world. I'm here to change the world, and I'm doing my best to do that. That's why I wrote a book about my life. That's why I'm on a podcast. My podcast is on a network. It's about to go on Roku and Fire TV very soon.
Oh,
So
wow,
because
congratulations.
oh yeah, well they know I'm the shizzle dizzle. That's why just them. But yeah, they know that I'm trying to do the same thing they're trying to do with their network, which is trying to change the world. So they came and got
Well,
me,
that's
and
good to know about them as a
yeah,
network. That's good to know.
yeah, not too
Sometimes
shabby,
you
right?
don't know the intentions of these institutions, so that's nice to know.
Yes, and I'm not in one of these institutions, but maybe I need to be institutionalized. Just kidding. But no, they are putting out there. They're trying to get that same thought process out there that I'm trying to put out there. Which is why they know they needed to have me on there, and as well, it's not just me. There's 45 other creators on there as well, and movies and documentaries and meditations and all kinds of things that are trying to make a difference in this world, and that's what they need. And I need them as much as they need me. But yeah, that's the only reason why you would actually have an angel with you if you're doing that. Now, I'm not saying everybody on that network has an angel because they don't. But you got to be something really different. But again, everything that I explained to you of the process of that has to happen to you in order for you to be working with angels, in order to you be working and having actual conversations with God. And I'm not just talking about channeling anymore. I see him directly right. He comes to me because he knows I'm
Mhm.
doing this for him and I'm helping him as much as he's helping me. So, but yeah, that if you meet anybody else who says, "Oh, I'm working with angels and archangels," if they don't tell you the story I told you, they're not doing
Yeah.
it. They're
Yeah.
just
So
not.
far, you're the first medium that I have met. So I now
Oh,
kind of
what do you
have a
think of that so
framework.
far? I have a T-shirt on my website that says I'm not an extra large, I'm a medium.
Oh, I like that.
I got jokes. Yeah, I have another shirt that says "Be good and don't do any stupid shit."
So, what's one thing that you would like to leave for our listeners to like, just as like a takeaway? It could be one thing. What would that be?
Don't judge each other. I
Mm,
mean, when you are at a store, you're coming out and you see somebody coming across the parking lot and they look at you and you look at them and you go, I don't like their shirt. I don't like their shoes. Before you do any of that, what I want you to do is take a self inventory of yourself and think of all the crap you've been through in your entire life. And once you know and realize everything you've been through, look back at that person and think, you know what? Maybe they're going through something too. Well, you know what? Everyone is going through something. I haven't met anyone who's not going through something in their lives. I don't care how much money and how much power you have, how pretty you think you are, and how famous you think you are. Everyone is going through something. And then when you see that and you realize that, bite your tongue and walk away because you don't have a right to do it. No one does. I mean, God doesn't judge us. We judge ourselves 1,000 times a day. Why does he need to do it once more? Why should you do it? You're not him, so, you're just a representation of him. Represent him a little bit better than that? So absolutely do that. I mean, and then when you're going in a store, you ever notice how you walk through a store and someone's walking near you and they start doing this? They're dodging and bobbing. They're trying to get away from you so they don't have to make any contact with you. I walk right in front of them and go, "Hello." And what? "Oh, hi, how are you?" "I'm great. How are you doing?" "I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay." "Great. I hope you have a great day." "You too." You know what? You don't know if you just change the perspectives or change the outlook of that person. And you can do it for the reason of just because. You can do it as an act of kindness to hopefully make a change in this world. We can all do it, but you have to take time and make the effort to do it. That's what I want them to do.
Thank you. And on this podcast, for every episode that we have with a guest, we have our guests leave a question for the next person that comes on. So, what's one question that you would like to leave for our listeners and the next person on the show?
Hmm. If God came to you, what would you really ask him? Because I know one thing that you wouldn't ask him is what other people think you're going to ask him. What's the lottery numbers? You're not going to ask him that.
Probably, I would hope not.
Right.
That would maybe
What would
be
you
a
really
waste.
ask him? I mean, I've seen him 11 times. He's spoken to me 11 times. He's touched me 8 times. But what would you really ask him? Because when he's in your presence, the sense I can't even explain the sense of love and just that engulfed you love around you feels like I've never felt it ever other than him. When you feel that, I think the things you think you might ask him are going to change. So maybe think about that first, because maybe he will come to you one day, maybe he won't. But if he does, what are you really going to ask him?
It's a really great question. Person that left a question for you, we really talked about many of different things. And
Oh
I feel
boy.
like you said in many of different ways of how you would answer this question, but I'm going to ask the question anyways. So the
Okay.
question is, what impact do you want to make on the world? As in, after you have an interaction with someone and when you leave this earth, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for helping people. I want them to not only feel as though I helped them, but they got enough out of it that they went out and tried to help as many people as they could as well.
Mm.
Because it's got to start somewhere. And if we don't start it, who is? Because the people who are in power and control of us are not wanting us to start it at all. They're not going to start it because if we did that, if they did it, they would actually take their own power and control away from themselves.
Mm-hmm,
So
sure would.
we we have to do this ourselves. That's where it's going to start. So yeah, as long as I can go out there and make a difference in this world, that's helping people to understand why we are here and what is our purpose for real, to learn to listen, trust, and follow through with what our spiritual guides and what our soul is trying to tell us to do. As long as I can teach enough people to do that, hopefully they will spread it. It'll spread like wildfire.
Have that ripple effect. I think that's
Yeah,
really beautiful.
absolutely. Yeah.
And what are some ways that folks can get connected to you?
But also be good and don't do any stupid shit. But if you do, don't get caught. Just kidding.
So, how can folks get you and find you?
Well, I'll tell you, like I just did a recent interview not too long ago, and this guy knew everything about me, and I was like,
Oh, wow.
How'd you get all that?" He said, "Oh, I punched your name into AI." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, I asked about." He said, "I asked about spirit medium Daniel Jackson," and I was like, "No kidding." I tried it, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's just said so much."
I've never thought to do that.
Right. I didn't think to do it either, I mean, I talked to God enough and archangels. I think I got enough information, but holy mackerel, AI told me all kinds of stuff about me. I thought that that was pretty cool. So, I mean, if anybody out there does want to find out about me and what I do and what encompasses me, absolutely go on your favorite AI source and say, tell me everything I need to know about Spirit Medium Daniel Jackson. Always put my last name in there too. And make sure you say spirit medium. Don't just say Daniel Jackson, because if you just say Daniel Jackson, it's going to bring up the character from Stargate, and that's not me. So, but my friends do like to call me Daniel Jackson because they know the Stargate movie. But yeah, you can go on AI and ask about me. I have a book of which you can read. I had a copy here. My wife is behind me. But yeah, I have a book called Daniel Jackson: The New Beginning: My Awakening as a Spirit Medium. It's everything that happened to me and for me, a chronological story about everything that worked for me to become what I am to become now, as well as there's messages at the back. Chapter 12 called The Basics, and these are messages that were brought to me from God and archangels to help us to become the best versions of ourselves while helping others to do the same. So yeah, you can find that on Amazon. It's very easy. Just put in Daniel Jackson, The New Beginning, and it'll bring it right. It's a picture of me right there. You see the man in the
There
white
we
light,
go.
just walking
Perfect.
into the bright white light. Yeah, that's me. And yeah, you can find it there. You can find my show Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson. Me. That's how I started on New Reality TV. So if you go to newrealitytv.com, one long word.com, and then you go in there, it says a list of shows. Click on that. You'll see my show, Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson. And it's all about metaphysical and supernatural. And then I also have a short show in there starting, comes out on Friday. It's called Veil Tales. Yeah, Veil
Oh,
Tales is my show about everything I see, hear, feel, smell, sometimes taste, and communicate with, and the experiences of that. And then I put a positive twist to it to let people know what it really truly means for them, so they can so they can relate to it. And then at the end of the show, I do a little pro tip from a medium on there. But yeah, the other show, Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson, is I have a lot of authors on there, a lot of other practitioners, other Reiki people, mediums, people who talk about intuition, meditation, experts, all that stuff. And then I do individual subjects as well for just myself, like
okay.
talking about heavenly birthdays, because they don't celebrate birthdays in heaven because no one's born there. They're born here. They're created there. Or what does my angels have for me? Well, you don't really have an angel because an angel would go get a cup of coffee. Yeah, I talk about all those types of things for people. So it makes it things simpler because I speak in terms in very black and white. Uh,
Hmm.
no, I don't. I have a no bullshit delivery. I just tell it like it is, and so the comments I keep getting from everyone is they keep saying I'm a breath of fresh air because I'm not trying to do the rainbows and unicorns and everything is love and light because life is not easy. It's hard. It can be very good, but you have to work hard at it. So I give them the understanding of how to work hard at it, and then hopefully they will do something with it. But yeah, newrealitytv.com.
Okay, perfect. I will make sure that everything is linked in our show notes so that everyone who's tuning in can find your
Cool beans.
information easily. I'll try to see if I can link on where your new show is going to be too, so that people are queuing
It's
up.
there.
They can go check that out too. Oh, perfect.
Yes,
Good, good.
as soon as they go on New Reality TV, it'll see because they show a listing of all the top 10 shows on there. My show's been number one for the past like 2.5 months because
Nice.
people know I'm telling them the truth. I'm not trying to screw them over with anything. And then now the new one, if they scroll down a little bit, it'll say Veil Tales, and they'll see another picture of me standing there looking all handsome as well as I do right now. But yeah, so they'll be able to find it. Just click on it and watch it. But the new one doesn't come out till this Friday. But the other one, there's a new show that comes out every week. And right now I think I have like 44 episodes on there. But again,
Oh, wow.
if they're going to watch it, depending upon when this comes out, like I
Yeah.
said, it's going on Roku and Fire TV, so by then, you may have to watch it over there. You could still check out the website and see if it's still free on there, but yeah, it's gonna be in all the apps on your TV that will carry it, it'll be on, so I'm looking
Nice. That's
forward to
really
that.
amazing. I'm glad that the work you're doing is going to be like easily accessible to other people because it's well needed and
Yes.
probably, more than ever, I'm
Yes.
sure things are right
Yes,
now.
absolutely. Yes, I agree.
So I appreciate you so much for taking your time since you are a busy guy to come on to the
Yeah, I'm so
show and
busy. Yeah.
what you do.
I'm so busy. I mean, the next thing I'm doing after this, I'm gonna go eat some dinner, and then I go on TikTok now. I've been, going on TikTok. I do a live show
Good.
every night except for Sunday. I go on there 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time till like 9:30. I don't go past 9:30 because after that, that's when all the nutty stuff happens on there. But yeah, I do a live show on there. I let people come in for like the first hour and ask me all the yes and no questions that they want to get. But I just ask some ridiculous questions like, "Is Johnny gonna fall in love with me?" and all that stuff. I mean, come on. But yeah, I let them do that for a while, and then I talk to them about it, why Johnny's gonna fall in love or why he's not. Make it more sense for them, so it's not just this crazy little question they ask. Yeah, I do that, and then I just talk about spirit and spirituality for the next 2, 3 hours, and then boom, I'm out of there. I mean, I've been on there for less than 4 months, and I have uh, 57, almost 5,800 followers on there, so I think I'm
Oh,
doing
that's pretty
okay.
good.
Yeah, not too shabby, right?
Well, I
People
will be
like the
sure
they like the
that
truth. What's that again?
and I'll be sure to link that in the show notes too. So whoever wants
Sure.
to tune into your live show, they can hop in there and
Yep.
maybe have an opportunity to speak with you and to share any of the questions or
Yes.
insights that they're looking for.
Yes, I'm always willing to speak with anybody. Anybody who's got a question, if I can help them to understand things better, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And thank you, everyone, for tuning into today's episode. As always, for the books mentioned today, it will be linked in our link tree where all the books go. And until next time, be well. Thanks for joining me at the Listening Well. If you have a story, a secret you've never shared, or a question you'd like advice on, or just something that you would like to share with somebody else, you can send it in anonymously if you wish at the email thelisteningwell25@gmail.com. Every story matters here, and I can't wait to hear yours. Until next time, keep listening and sharing.